Hello guys. So in the previous session we have discussed about the moderate phase in Indian National Congress. So today we are going to start with the next part, that is the extremist phase of Indian National Congress. Just 1 minute. Start. Yes. Today we are going to start with the extremist phase of Indian National Congress. Okay. You can say this phase ran roughly from 1905 1920. Okay. Now, what was the background for the rise of extremism or extremist movement in India? Okay. So, what happened by 1892? Okay, roughly you can say by 1892. What happened? The young leaders of Congress. Okay, what happened to them? They became disheartened. Why? Because what moderates were doing, they were giving a list of demands to the Britishers. And what Britishers were doing, if let's say they have given 100 demands, only 30 were accepted, rest 70 were rejected. Okay, and that 30 were also not the major demands, but they were the minor demands which are accepted, and 70 which were the major demands generally, or which were the one which was to give more power to the Indians. This was generally rejected. Okay, that's why these young people became disheartened. Okay, and they tried to doubt British ideas. Which ideas? Generally justice, and what they said, they are so-called liberals. Okay, liberalism. So they started to doubt on these two ideas of the Britishers. Okay, you can say these people, due to this all things which are happening in the current at that time, what they did, they lost faith in legitimate means. What do you mean legitimate means? Legitimate means constitutional. Okay, protest 3P formula. I hope you remember that particular thing. Okay, so they decided that the legitimate means or constitution means which were used by the moderates, okay, which was 3P strategy, is not working at all. Okay, in spite of that, what we should do, we should move towards a new thing. Okay, that is, we should go with Swadeshi. Okay, we should go with boycott. We should go with national education. Okay, promoting Indian things. What they were saying, we should go by promoting the Indian things. Okay, so generally this was the ideas which are propagated by the young generation of that time. Okay, what they said, ke, you need to move or you need to get modified the current trends in the society. Okay, so the idea of extremism was completely based on what you can say, rejecting rejecting the old values or old fashioned techniques. Okay, so what generally we can say, the idea of extremism was rejecting the old techniques. Okay, whatever old fashioned techniques the moderates were using, what they said, they need to completely rid of this particular thing. Okay, and second thing what they did, see, they said being polite would not serve the purpose. What you need to do is, first step that you need to take is become aggressive. Okay, and second thing what Congress did, talks were going on, okay, in a closed room, or you can say in the office of the British official. But what they said, you should make the conversation open, so that it shows your, to show your strength and unity. I hope you guys are getting this particular thing. What you should do, you should have open end statements. You should talk to the officials in public, so that the strength what you have and the unity which you possess is shown clearly. Okay. And what they said, okay, up till now, Congress was restricted to some classes only, for upper classes only. Okay. What we should do, we should remove this barrier of class and reach the downward section, or you can say you should reach the masses. What they said, that we should reach the masses, or you should strive hard to gain the mass support. Okay, these all things are said by them. And what they believe, was we need to overthrow. Okay, what they believe, we need to overthrow the rule for socio political reforms in the society. Okay, what we need to do, we need to overthrow the rule for the socio political reforms in the society for the development of society. Okay, and they believe this could be achieved. Okay, this all things could be achieved only through massive protest. Okay, see, up till now what all things we are seeing, by 1892 young leader became disheartened by the rejecting attitude of the Britishers. So this arose a doubt in the British ideas of justice and liberalism. Okay, so what these people thought, okay, they lost the trust on legitimate means, that is 3P strategy. Okay, and they said now we should move towards a new thing. What is it? Swadeshi, boycott, national education. We should promote this all things. They were saying this. Okay, and what they said, we should reject the old-fashioned techniques. Okay, if we go with that particular thing, nothing we are going to achieve nothing. Okay, so what we need to be as of now is we need to be aggressive. We need to show our strength and unity. We need to just breach the barrier of classes and reach the masses. Okay, and just remember, if you want socio-political reforms, what you need to do, you need to overthrow the rule. And how? By massive protest. Okay, this was the ideology which was supported by this particular leader. Okay, so the second phase, which was also called as extremist phase, which is also known as Tilak era. Okay, Tilak era. Why this is called as Tilak era? Because this particular era was led by three persons ideology. You can say four generally, okay, but three were main on them. They are often called as Lal, Bal, Pal. Okay, Lal stands for Lala Lajpat Rai. Pal stands for Ba Gangadhar Tilak, who is often called as Lokmanya Tilak. Okay, Pal stands for Bipin Chandra Pal, and also one more person associated with them, whose name was Aurobindo Ghosh. Okay, so these four people were the prominent people who were involved in spread of the idea of extremism. Okay, their leader, who was the leader of this particular ideology, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, or to be specific, what we'll be denoting him as Tilak. Okay, so Tilak was supposed to be the leader, and that's why this age is called as Tilak age. Okay, now what happened? See, the Calcutta session of 1906. Okay, the Calcutta session of 1906 of Congress adopted four basic principles for the future struggle. Okay, which extremists wanted to a greater extent. Okay, what they said, four principles. Which were those four principles? First one was Swaraj. Okay, second one was Swadeshi. Okay, third basic idea which they promulgated was boycott, and fourth one was national education. We'll come back to these points later. Okay, but as of now, just remember the four principles on which the extremist ideology was based and which was accepted by the Congress in the Calcutta session were Swaraj, Swadeshi, boycott, and national education. Okay, now you can say Tilak, talking something about the Tilak. Okay, so what happened was Tilak believed, or Tilak, or you can say in simple terms, not only specifying on Tilak, but extremist ideology believed. Okay, what that British have a selfish interest. Okay, what they said, British have a selfish interest. They're never for our betterment. They will never do good things for us. Okay, and due to this particular thing, what he said, he tried to raise discontent against Britishers. So people now who were silent, initially silent on the actions of Britishers, they started to revolt against the Britishers. Okay, why? Because of the obsessive language or the language was used by Tilak in the newspapers. Okay, that's why. Okay, a person whose name was Valentin Chirol, what he called Tilak? He called Tilak as father of Indian unrest. Okay, what was he called? He was called as father of Indian unrest. Okay, talking about Tilak, Tilak completed his graduation in law. Okay, Tilak was law graduate. Okay, and when he was studying law, he met a person. Okay, whose name was Gopal Ganesh Agarkar. Okay, Tilak plus Agarkar plus one more person whose name was Vishnu Shastri Chiplunker. Okay, Tilak, Agarkar, and Vishnu Shastri Chiplunker together they started a school in Pune, which was called as New English. Okay, they have set up a new school in Pune whose name was New English School. Okay, and when it was set up generally you can say in 1880s. Okay, then you can say in the year 1884 they established the most prominent society of Pune, which is called as Deccan Education Society. Okay, they established Deccan Education Society, and the next year itself, 1884, we're talking about 1884, and the next year itself, that is in 1885. Okay, FC Ferguson College was started with G.G. Agarkar as its first principal. Okay, with G.G. Agarkar as its first principal. Okay, then they both were good friends. So to propagate social and political ideologies together, or the ideas of social and political developments together, they started newspapers. Okay, the first one was called as Kesari, and second was called as Maratha. Kesari was in Marathi, and Maratha was in English. Okay. Kesari was edited by Gopal Ganesh Agarkar, and Maratha was edited by Pal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay, this particular paper was edited by this Tilak. Okay, now what happened after some times? These two were good friends, but see, if two intellects come in at one place, what happens? There is not that they would be having some differences among themselves. Okay, here also the differences arose. What happened was there was a debate that which thing should be given more preference, social development or political development. Okay, Agarkar was of the view that social development should be given more preference, whereas Tilak was of the view that political things should be given more preference. Okay, and in this particular battle, see, Agar was not that much financially sound. Okay, but Tilak was. Okay, so what he said, they had a fight, and then Tilak said, "It's my newspaper or it's everything is mine. Then I'll do what I want." Okay, and due to this particular thing, Agarkar got offended and he resigned. Okay, Agarkar resigned from the editor of Kesari, and then later he started his own paper called as Sudharak. As of now, it is not a concern. But what Agarkar did, Agarkar resigned due to the differences in this particular thing. Okay, when he resigned in the year 1887, Agarkar resigned from his post. Okay, I hope you guys are getting the data up till now. Okay, then next thing, let's move to the next part. That is, what was the ideology of Tilak? Okay, we'll discuss in the Tilak's ideology. Okay, now what he did to carry forward the four principles which were given. Okay, to glorify Indians or to glorify the culture of Indians, what he did, he started to celebrate two important festivals. Okay, to glorify the cultural traditions of Indians, what Tilak did, Tilak started to celebrate two important festivals. Which are those two festivals? The first one was started in 1893, which is called as Ganesh Utsav. Okay, Ganesh Chaturthi, celebration of Ganesh Chaturthi. Okay, the next one was done in 1895, that is celebration of Shiva Jayanti, just to unite the people together. Okay, that people should come together, they should when they are together, what he will do, he will give some speeches in the context of public political awareness, and he would ask them to form a social organization for the development and the betterment of society. Okay, so in this particular thing, what he did, he induced youth in the struggle. Also, he requested youth what to join gymnasium and become physically fit. Why? Because we need to have a struggle. We need to have a wrong struggle against the Britishers. And if you want to participate in this particular struggle, you need to be fit. Okay, this was the ideology which he was propagating. Tilak was propagating. Okay, and this was a time when Gandhiji. Okay, Gandhiji also got interest in Indian politics. Okay, this was a time when Gandhiji also started to take interest in Congress, in the activities of Congress in Indian politics. Okay, and Gandhiji also opposed the principles which moderates follow. He also didn't like the things which moderate followed. Okay, whatever things moderates have done, Gandhiji was also against that particular thing. Okay, so what Tilak said further, that British attitude, okay, or British always were selfish towards Indians. Okay, so if we need to end this particular thing, we need to have a struggle. What Tilak said, we need to have a struggle. Okay, and you guys should be ready to sacrifice everything. Okay, for your motherland. What he says, you guys should be prepared, or you guys should be ready for sacrificing everything for the motherland. Sacrifice everything for motherland. He said that be ready to sacrifice everything for the motherland. Okay, those who all followed this particular ideology, or those who all supported this particular ideology, were called as extremists. Okay, so that's why we call him as the creator of this ideology. Okay, then what happened in 1905 when partition of Bengal was announced? Okay, people gave a huge uproar. Why? Because of they were enlightened, or you can say they were lit by Tilak. Okay, due to this, what happened? People reacted heavily to this particular thing. Okay, what extremists did? Extremists heavily criticized. Okay, extremely criticized the British activities. Okay, and they also got huge public support because they were fighting for the people, right? Okay, huge public support, as I discussed in the previous session. Okay, now the next part is about the four principles of Congress. We just have a discussion on this particular part. What were the four important principles? The first one was Swaraj. Okay, so Tilak gave a big statement that Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Okay, this slogan was given by Tilak, and with this, he has clarified what was the vision of the Congress at that point of time, or what was the vision which Congress was seeing through him at that point of time. Okay, so what he said, Indians to get all the legal rights, okay, which they enjoy in British, this we call as Swaraj. Okay, what he said, we should grant Indians all those rights which Britishers are enjoying in England. Okay, if that rights are given to us over here, then only it could be called as Swaraj. Okay, and the second thing what he said, to have self government. Okay, or you can say a responsible government. Okay, a government which is responsible to its people, government which is responsible to the ministers or Indians, to directly or indirectly, we want a responsible government. Okay, this was the statement which was laid forward in the context of Swaraj. Okay, second thing what he promulgated was Swadesh. Okay, so what he got to know, see, he was an educationist person, he was not a illiterate person to say anything. Okay, so what he got to know was, we have, we as a Indians, you know that whenever Britishers came to India, what they did, they flooded the Indian markets with the machiniment market, which was very cheap, and Indian goods became costly, and that's why all the artisans, okay, were what you can say completely disbanded, and this started the process of exploitation. What they did, they started this process of exploitation. Now, what he is saying, they exploited us. Now, what we should do, we should have a political struggle. He converted this particular thing into political struggle. Now he said that we would be using only the things which are made in India. Okay? Will not use anything which is made in foreign, though it might be costly. But what we'll do, we'll be using only the Indian made goods, Swadeshi. Okay. And third thing, what he said was boycott. Okay, the most important call, boycott. So he knew that Britishers brought too many acts. So as of now, we don't have any weapon to fight against the British. Okay, we did not have any weapon to fight against the Britishers. So what he said, we don't have anything, but what we can do is we can make boycott a powerful tool. What he said, we can make boycott a powerful tool to fight against the Britishers. What he said, we can make boycott a powerful tool to fight against the Britishers. Okay, because if Britishers are having great financial losses, okay, if Britishers are having great financial losses, it would be difficult for them. It would be obviously difficult for them to sustain in India. Okay, it would be difficult for them to sustain India. This was the ideology which he believed through boycott. Okay, and fourth ideal principle which he followed was the principle of national education. Okay, the next principle that he followed was the principle of national education. So what he said, the culture or the Macaulay, whatever system he gave was derogated to Indians. So what we should do, we should have a system which education system which should increase the sense of patriotism. Okay, we should glorify India's culture, we should glorify literature, tradition, and history of India. What is it? We should have an education system which should glorify culture, we should okay, literature, traditions, and history of India. We should have system in that particular context. Okay, and due to all these things which he said through his newspapers or through direct speeches, okay, he had to face British anger, or you can say antagonism. Okay, in 1908, he was arrested on sedition charges. Okay, he was arrested on sedition charges, and then he was sent to 6 years imprisonment in Mandalay. Okay, 6 years of imprisonment in Mandalay. There, he was not quiet. What he did, he started to learn the literature over there. Okay, in sitting back in prison, what he did, he wrote some books such as Gita Rahasya, that is commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and then what you can say, uh, he increased his knowledge, he gained everything from the literature, and as soon as he was left, or as soon as he was revealed from the prison, he again started his political activity. By this time, he was removed or he was disbanded from the Congress. So what he did, he took a support of the new movement which was arising in India, which was called as Home Rule. Okay, so and he presents Home Ruling. Okay, to widen the scope of national agitation. Okay, to widen scope of national agitation. What he did to widen the scope of national agitation, he started. Okay, he started or he participated in the Home Rule League. Okay, and also he empowered them to spread this particular home rule league throughout India, because he was a popular leader at that point of time. And if he is accepting home rule league, then it is a mighty thing that everyone would accept this particular home rule league. Okay, so what Britishers did after this particular thing? Okay, Britishers decided what they'll do, they will suppress this movement. Okay, what Britishers decided that they will suppress this particular movement. Okay, so press was subdued. Okay, press was subdued, and due to his speeches or due to his awakening speeches, okay, Tilak was denied entry. Okay, Tilak was denied entry in Punjab and Delhi. Okay, Tilak was denied entry in Punjab and Delhi. I hope you guys are getting the scenario what happened now. Okay, now what happened after, with the efforts of Annie Besant, Tilak rejoined Congress and said that he will not be as extreme as he was in the initial years. Okay, he will go in line with the Congress, and then he gained his influence in Congress. Why I'm saying he gained his influence? Because he was successful, okay, in establishing Annie, first female president of Congress, Calcutta session. Okay, first session of Congress, Calcutta session. Okay, and there what she did, she demanded Swaraj. But she stated that aim of the Congress is Swaraj. Okay. Now he got to know that only Hindus if they fight, because initial Tilak was very radical by his thoughts. Okay. So he got to know that if we want freedom or if we want Swaraj, we need to unite with every section of the society. So what happened? A thing came into picture, that is Lucknow Pact of 1960. Thing came into prominence. Lucknow Pact of 1950. Okay, so Tilak found that Hindu-Muslim unity, okay, Hindu-Muslim unity is necessary, okay, to face British efficiently. If we are united together, we can easily face the Britishers. So to have a popular front, what we want is we want unity amongst Hindu and Muslims. Okay, so what he did, there was an issue going on, that is the issue of caliphate. Okay, so what British have done, they have promised Muslims that they will not dethrone Khalifa. But after the First World War, they have dethroned the Khalifa. They have removed all the powers from the Khalifa, and that's why what you can say, Muslims in India were angry with the Britishers. Okay, so what he did, he used this as a tool. Okay, what he did, he used this as a tool. Okay, and then there was a pact between Indian National Congress and Muslim League. Okay, then there was a pact between Indian National Congress and Muslim League. And what is this particular pact called? This is called as Lucknow Pact. Okay. What is this called? It is called as Lucknow Pact. What happened in this particular pact? Okay, so here Congress decided what they will do. Whichever areas are Muslim majority, okay, whichever areas are Muslim majority, there Congress will not be having any opposition. Okay, in Muslim majority electoral areas, or they will not stand, or they will not give tickets to the person who is standing in the face of Congress. And second thing, what Muslim League did, Muslim League accepted Congress idea of Swaraj. Okay, Muslim League accepted the Congress idea of Swaraj. Okay, now both decided to leave aside their differences. This particular thing, what happened? Both decided to leave aside differences and unite as one entity. Okay, so you can say from this particular thing, it is very clear that extremists, what they have done, they have made Indian national movements. Okay, what they have done, they have made the Indian national movements more aggressive. How? By creating the awakening. By creating awakening amongst the people. Okay, now finally you can say Tilak died on 1st of August 1920. Okay, Tilak died on 1st of August 1920. Okay, now what happened after this particular thing? Okay, we need to see in the next part. But before that, what we'll do is we will do evaluation. What was the evaluation of this particular phase? The previous term also we have done. So now also we are going to do the same thing. That is evaluation of this particular thing. Okay, so what happened was with the rise of extremism, what happened? The policies of Congress changed. You can see a clear change in the Swaraj Swadeshi boycott and national education. Congress adopted these particular ideologies of extremism. So you can see there was a policy change in the policies of Congress. Okay, then you can say Congress also believed that Swaraj can never be attained by moderate speed, or if you go with moderate speed, we will never be able to attain the Swaraj. Okay, so you can say these all things were important things, but again, this period also did one more thing. What was it? This period also witnessed the rise of military nationalism, or you can say armed rebellion against Britishers. Okay, not only in Maharashtra, but in whole of the India, and not only in Maharashtra and India, but you can say generally in whole world, in abroad as well. Okay, in San Francisco, USA, you can say in London, you can say in Berlin, everywhere. What happened? The armed rebellion against the Britishers started to take place. Okay, so this was an analysis, or this was a short summary about the extremist period. I hope you guys have got this particular session. If you guys have any queries in this, you guys can ask me. I hope. Thank you for being attentive. If you have any comments or if you have any suggestions to give, You can comment in the comment box. Chalo. Thank you. Have a good day.